How's everybody doing? Hi, glad you're back. Be sure and like and subscribe. Um, so today we're going to talk about government. Is it a religion? Um, there's been lots of videos that I've wanted to make, and I've actually made lots of videos, and I've put them on YouTube. And then I took them off of YouTube again because I've had this fear that my life wasn't gonna get any better. That if I did these videos, it wouldn't get any better and stuff like that. But that fear was irrational. Um, because things that I've been fearful of happening if I made videos, you know, in some sense, I mean, well, it doesn't matter. I'm here because I love you, and I want to share some information that there's someone told me that I have a gift. Now, I don't often feel like it's a gift. But if there's a way that I can use this that will help you or me or someone who has a good heart that wants good things for everybody, then let me do the best that I can to make that possible. So let's take a look at this idea of is government religion, and why would I even ask that question? Well, there's some people that believe in government very much. So to kind of look at this from maybe the right perspective, the first question you might say is, do you believe in a higher power? And do you believe government is a higher power? And if you do, then you're placing someone else above you. You're kind of taking equality, the equality of mankind, and just kind of, saying, whatever. Or taking that idea and just saying it's not important, or it's not, well, I don't know. If you believe in a higher power, and you believe government's a higher power, then that has become a religion for you. Whether you profess yourself to be Christian or Hindu or Muslim or any other religion. If you believe that the government should be your ruler over you, that you should have to obey a bunch of rules that someone else wrote down, that you don't know, never gave them permission to rule your life, and you've decided that those people are just the elite, they're just above you, then you have chosen to adopt government as a religion. And that happens most often to people because government is a thought control organization. Govern is to control, and ment is from I think it's the root word is maybe Greek, or mentis, which is of the mind or thought. So govern mental or govern thought. It's govern is control, and mental or mentis is thought. So that's control thought, or thought control. And maybe that's why you might call it Brainwashing, D.C. People say to me all the time, "Why you have a clever, you have you have a clever way of playing on words." These are things that they're not my play on words. They're just things that I've happened to find in the language. Not necessarily because I wanted to. I mean, look, who issues money, right? Government, right? Because they want you to what? Earn a living. Something that's supposed to be a gift, right? Living on earth is supposed to be a gift. You're born, it's supposed to be a gift, but they want you to earn it. Now, the thing about earn, is I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Government, brainwashing, D.C. So let's look at some things that can help us again further determine whether government is a religion. So we have D.C. Now, another thing we can do is we can write D.C. like that. Okay? Now, my thought is that someone that loves us, who has the ability to inspire man, may have helped do something very good, so that we would be able to look or listen, have eyes to see or ears to hear, things in the language that will let us know where we might have, where there might be some danger or trepidation. So DC. Now D, the prefix D is a kind of a negative prefix. It means to to remove or to not. Like descent. All right. If you're in descent, you're taking away from the height of something. So a plane in descent is getting ready to land, is taking away from the elevation height of that. So DC. So this is another thing would be like depart. So you're no longer part. You're not part of where you once were. So if you're departing one area, then you're not in that area anymore. So you're not part of that area. So it's a non or not. So this would be like not, not or no. Right? So like no, like you can't see. Right? Maybe that's why Washington deceiver. Right? Is deceiver. Nazi. Well, what happened at the end of was it World War II? Did they bring all the Nazis over here, make them part of the government and things like that? Now, I don't know if that was actually true or not, but I know a Nazi is someone who doesn't see something. I mean, look at what kind of the police use what kind of dogs? German Shepherds, right? I don't know what kind of correlation that is. I don't know how that fits together. But I know that if you have something that is a deceiver, is also known as district. Okay, district is strict, right? And how, what's another way strict? And why would we call that strict? Well, what do strict people have? They have lots of rules, right? Lots of laws and stuff like that. Well, that's what DC is, right? That's what they do there. So Okay, let's look at this. Let's put that E in there, right? So now we have, well, that's an abbreviation for December. Now, why would that be significant? I mean, you could put anything in there, right? But since we're talking about DC, let's look at the beginning of that. DEC, December. Now, Washington DC used to actually be land that belonged to Virginia. And Virginia gave an area of land, and that became Washington, D.C. So what happened here is Washington, D.C. was actually kind of like born of a virgin, huh? Virginia. And we know what they did here is, right, they brought over a New England. Right? They established New England. And so, yeah, Washington, D.C. came from Virginia. And so what are some of the things that the characteristics of religion? Well, religion always talks about sins, right? Sins. Okay? Now the government also has sins. They call it license, right? And they have the people take on their license. We have to take a government license. Drive a car or build an addition onto a house, or things like that. So you have a license, and you have to pay. You have to pay for the license. What's another thing that they do? Right? When kids are born, right? What do they do in a hospital? What do? They take a print of them, right? Not fingerprints. What kind of prints do they take? They take footprints, right? And what part of the foot? They call that the sole. Right? Now here's the interesting thing about that. Right? The soul. What's a religion about? Soul, right? And then you have this. So let's look at the way soul is spelled. The beginning of soul is a Spanish word for son. Right? Maybe it's kind of about the Son of God and taking on the sins, yeah. And so you have, in normal religion, you have normal religion. You have G-O-D. They spell it like this, G-O-D. The government spells it like this because they capitalize things. They capitalize things. And what is capital? Capital is money, right? And so they capitalize our names, they capitalize states, they capitalize all kinds of stuff. They even capitalize God. So you have God, G-O-V, right? G-O-V, G-O-D. What's another thing that the government uses all the time? I mean, what are most congressmen and senators? What are most a lot, or not? I'm not gonna say most of them, but there's lots of congressmen and senators that are lawyers. lawyers, right? Now, why are they lawyers? Well, what do they do in Congress? They write laws, right? And whose laws do they write? Well, they're writing their laws, but they actually say they're your laws. Lawyers, right? They're sitting around making a bunch of rules and saying, you got to do what we say. They've made themselves the elite. They put themselves everybody else. Now, religion talks about, having to pay for sins, and the Son of God paying for sins, or depends on what religion you look at, but and so here lawyers are members of something called the bar, right? And of course, then we talk about paying the price for things. So you have bar codes, right? So you go into the store, and they have barcodes, right? And and what else do lawyers do? They put people behind bars, right? Of course, you have bartender. Okay, and what is money? Money is legal tender. And now, what does a bartender serve? They serve wine and what? Spirits. Do you think this is religious at all? Or maybe you might say wine and spirits, right? So, and they write stuff in code, right? So we were talking about the barcode, right? So you have codes, statutes, regulations, bylaws, right? How much you got to bylaws for? I have no idea what that is. I don't know what the correlation is with a lot of this stuff. I'm just able to, I can hear it in the language, and or I can not hear, but I can hear it in the language, or it's there, and so I think I ought to show you. So that's it. So what are codes, anyways? Well, codes are secret communication. And what do robes? What do judges wear? Right? They wear robes, right? Like they're part of some. Well, they wear black robes. Black robes, like what do most a lot of religions say? You shouldn't judge other people. but they've set up a system and made us think it's okay for us to judge each other. As a matter of fact, they even show us that it's wrong what they do, because when they turn people into judges, and they do that by calling them a jury, they put people in juries. Injury. It's an injury to the people to turn the people into judges and have them judge other people, going against what they say is God's law. Not to take man's law, not to observe man's law, but to observe God's law, which is very simple. It's just be good to each other. if you look in communities that don't have, these centralized, federalized type governments, um, people still have squabbles amongst themselves, but neighbors will work together so that um, they work together to solve their problems and arguments and things like that, instead of saying, hey, you know what, let's set up a court system and judge each other and do that kind of thing. And when people have fights, the people in the community will get together and they'll have them talk things out. And if they don't, if they're not able to work things out right away, maybe they have people that don't talk to each other for a while or something like that. But it's not about a battle, adversarial system of pitting the government against the people. The state against the. I mean, that's just not the right thing. And you'll notice that the state is also spelled in capital letters, and that's because it is about dollars and cents. I mean, that's DC, dollars and cents. So we have December. We have a state that was born of Virginia in December, right? And so they print the sole of the infant's feet, and the sole is a Spanish word for sun, and that's the phonetic sound of son, like the Son of God that was, this as the story goes, was born in December. Although history says it might actually be a different month, but it is what it is. So they have, so they write stuff in codes, and codes are secret communications. And why do you have secret communications? Because there's something that you want to what? Hide. Maybe some of you heard about Jekyll Island, right? And Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? So maybe when they were meeting on Jekyll Island, they had something to hide. And so maybe that what they had was a new kind of language that sounded like English. That was called legalese. Like any other language that ends with ease, that usually isn't very easy to learn. Japanese, Chinese, Now those Japanese, Chinese don't have any relation to this word here, legalese, or this language here. The only similarity they have is they're not easy to learn, because this is a language that of deception. If they're hiding new definitions and words, they don't actually hide them because they have to kind of make it available to you. But they have dictionaries that they use that they don't use, that they don't put out in normal publication, except for typically for other lawyers and things like that. So you hear words that sound like English, but you don't know that they have a different definition than what you normally use the word in. Like the word person. And we'll get into some of the words they use in the legal field another time. But so, I mean, we have December, we've got Virginia, we've got soul, and soul, sun, and license. Right? the government's license. That you have to ask permission to get in your own car so that you can go to the doctor or go visit your friend or go to the movies or go on a family outing or go to work or any of those things that you have to or want to or enjoy or have fun with. You have to take the government's license and be their savior. They turn the people into their savior, because the only way the government exists is by possessing the bodies of people and have it work for them. And people that work for the government are in much of the same way, in the same position. They've been possessed to work for the government. Their body is used to further the goal of the government. And the government, it's not the people that work in the government so much. Maybe some of them, yeah, but the government itself, the entity, the thing of the government, which is, again, like we said, control thought. Control thought wants to possess people and wants to control people, and maybe it's a form of artificial intelligence that has been found a physical existence in our reality, or in our society. I'm not sure what actually I am. It's become part of society, and has taken possession of many people's minds and thoughts. So it's made us a savior, and like I said, the only way it exists is by using people to control and use other people. Like many forms of religion are used to control other people's behavior, that's what religion is. It's the removal of free will and free agency. It's saying you don't govern yourself. We do. What we'll do is we'll say that you govern yourself. We'll give you a bunch of rules, and you have the choice of whether or not to follow them. Only thing is, it's not free choice. It's not free will. It's not free agency or any of those, and it's not liberty. Right? If free is not under control and govern is control, then that's not free that way. If free is without cost or payment, but you have to pay all types of government fees and licenses and all those other different things that the government has that you have to pay, then you're not free without cost or payment. So you're not free in any way. So it's not free agency or not free will. It's not liberty. It's a deception, being deceived that that's what you have. And you might say that would be, government would be what's called the great deceiver. It's controlled your thoughts to make you believe in something and make you believe that it's good. But it's all been something that's pulling the wool over your eyes, I guess, or our eyes. I mean, and a lot of people don't like to think about this because they feel like they've been fooled. And, fooled is one of those words that you have to be careful about saying, maybe. I'm not sure. But, well, that's not what I want to talk about. What I'm saying is that Um, if your thought is, well, I don't want to think that, I've been fooled by somebody all these years. It's not that you've been fooled. It's that you've been deceived. And when you've been deceived, it's not your fault. It's the fault of thought control. Control thought. Government. Because they keep saying that you're free. Even though the very word says that you're not. But even that is something that they have got. That again is another thing that deceiver has done, because the truth is, we're not owned by the government, and we don't have to do what they say, and they're not the elite. They're the 1%. Now, in any other situation, if you have 100 people in a room and 99 of them say one thing, and one person says, y'all all have to do whatever I say, and you have to pay me, everybody would say, you're crazy. But thought control has got people to do that exact same thing, except instead of saying to the 1%, you're crazy, they say, okay, we'll do whatever you say and we'll pay you. So is government a religion? I'll let you make that decision for you. That's something, talk amongst yourselves. If you have any questions, or if there's something that you'd like me to talk about, leave a message or a comment, leave a comment. And again, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.